Hey, what's up, you guys? So I'm here talking with Andre Wilson. What's up, Andre?
What's going on, man?
Nice. I'm doing pretty well, man. Happy Monday, first and foremost. Where are you currently located, Andre?
Definitely. So I'm actually out here in Sacramento, California, as of right now.
Sacramento. What's happening in Sacramento right now?
Nothing really. It's kind of a boring place, honestly. But honestly, there's a huge movement starting out here, so I'm super excited for it.
Movement. What's the movement?
Got you. So at least what I'm probably gonna get into this a little bit later, but I'm kind of affiliated with like a huge movement out here. We're about like 700 people deep right now. Literally just helping people become financially aware. Honestly, create additional income sources online and be able to really just help people win in the end of the day.
Well, you know what? That's something I think a lot of people want to hear, and I think a lot of people want to know more about, and they just don't really ever either have the resources to find those things, have the outlets, have the being that I'm with you today, I'm really happy, and I think everybody's going to be happy to hear what you got to say, Andre. So let's hear about the movement, man. So let's just start off first. Let's rewind a little bit. How'd you end up in Sacramento?
Honestly, I've been growing up in the area for a while now. I actually moved here when I was about 3 years old from my home country of Costa Rica. So it's kind of like my
Costa
home
Rica.
country. Yeah, definitely. A little bit far, about 4,000 miles away. So definitely a little of a movement. But my parents and I, we decided that, America was going to be the best way to actually create opportunities. So literally, we moved out here when I was about 3 years old. And ever since then, just kind of been in the area. Just been going to, preschool, middle school, high school, literally the entire time, all around this whole area. So.
Absolutely. You got the opportunity to do, kind of win the lottery. I have a lot of friends who still are in other countries and can't get over here. And they say, you being out here is like winning the lottery, man. Even if you like, you're just walking on the beach without, without much, you got it pretty good because you can do just about anything you want here in America.
Definitely.
Yeah, nice, man. Hey, well, that's really awesome, Andre. So you went from Costa Rica to America when you were 3 years old, and you came over here, and Sacramento has been the spot, has been the homeland.
Definitely. Yeah. I've been so grateful for it. Not only just for the area, also the opportunities, but also the people. The people here in Sacramento, a lot of them are actually really, really good culture. They're really nice. A lot of people here, I feel like some of their environments kind of get a hold of them sometimes, but I feel like the more that people really start to think about the positives instead of the negatives, that's really where people like really start to shine the most.
Absolutely. A lot of people can and we all have hard times, but the thing about negatives and positives is that the negative will always outweigh the positive, no matter what. So what we want to do is sort of like, just like you want to have a healthy diet when you eat your food, right? You want to have healthy thoughts, positive thoughts. Let's keep the mind diet healthy. Negative thoughts, there's so many we could have for whatever reason, but we keep the mind diet healthy. And I think, we got the six-pack mentality.
Definitely, definitely.
That's awesome, Andre. So okay. So you came over here with a lot, the opportunity was yours to grab, it's there. You're in America. The opportunity is however far you wish to take it. So now here you are. How old are you now, Andre?
I am 20. I'm actually about to turn 21 next month. So
Nice, man. So do you have it together yet? What do you think you want? You probably don't, and you don't really have to, but what do you think you want to do? You have a lot of financial goals. You're out here in movements, you're making noise, you're out there, you're taking those steps.
definitely. So one of the biggest things I feel like one of my goals, I'm definitely getting towards my goals for sure. I feel like what I'm doing right now is probably what I'm gonna be doing for the rest of my life, honestly. So I definitely want to be able to, use this as a lifelong journey. But I would say the biggest thing right now, one of my biggest goals is being able to really just help people worldwide, whether it be, inspirational, motivational. Honestly, the biggest thing for me is I want to be able to help as many people as possible. Not necessarily, I don't want to create, multimillionaires out of nothing, but more so just be able to really have people not stress, right? A lot of people stress about, bills every single month. I really talk to countless people talking about, I'm living paycheck to paycheck, can't do anything with it. I just want to get people out of that loop and really into something that's brand new. And so being able to, be in the position that I am in today, literally, I have no job anymore. I've been jobless completely for a whole year now, a little over a year now, simply from the fact that I've been able to create an income online. So that's kind of like what I've been able to do. And my goal at the end of this year is to be able to help at least 200 individuals, create an additional income source online. That's consistent, right? Not just like, one check every 6 months, but actually consistently making that.
Not just like selling some shoes on the internet, not just like selling a pair of boots, calling it a day, something to keep moving with.
Exactly. And so I feel like the movement we have so far out here has been great. Like 700 people deep is ridiculous. But I definitely can feel that a lot more people are going to be, more motivated this year because they've seen everything that happened last year and realized, oh shoot, my 9 to 5 is not as secure as it used to be. So being able to now kind of push forth that next level and be able to really create an additional income stream that basically will actually pay the bills while you're still going to your 9 to 5. So
that's interesting. Do you think that the future is going to be sooner or later, we're not going to go anywhere for a quote unquote office? The office is going to be maybe the computer, maybe the phone, maybe we're going to integrate the phone and computer. It's already starting to feel a little funny. Some people either have a laptop and an iPhone or whatever that, a laptop and a phone and one or the other. But I feel like eventually we're just going to have to, they're going to find a size and a way to make it work. So anyways, what I really want to ask you though, besides the future of phones and laptops is, do you think that we're all just going to have businesses online, income sources online? We're going to have to figure out, having the coronavirus taking place, us being at home for a year and having to sort of figure out what's happening online. Do you think this was for the smart guys? You figure it out, you sort of build your building blocks, and you get a little ahead of the race, because eventually we're all going to be on the internet, selling stuff and having to run our businesses.
Yeah, I definitely feel that as well. One of the biggest things that I've always learned, I forgot what book it was, but it was a quote. And it talked about how the people that are very, very well equipped for today's day and age will not be able to adapt for the future, right? So the people that are doing very, very well today at 9 to 5, that are normal to it, but that are very, I don't want to say difficult, but very hard to actually adapt towards the future, right? Being able to do social media, right? Even Instagram wasn't even a thought back then, and now it's one of the biggest apps in the world. And it just being able to really adapt, right? Companies that are not on social media today are not really winning. Like at the end of the day, like if you're not on social media, you're not really winning as much as people that are, right?
You hear that, you guys? You hear that?
Definitely. So one of the biggest things that I would say is last year, people actually realized, oh shoot, an entire, company complex, no one was able to go in and out of, but they were able to work from home. Right. Now, what's a lot cheaper? Think about this is like, now you can still pay them at home, but now you don't have to pay rent for an entire office building anymore. Right.
It's a lot of extra change in your pocket.
Exactly. And I actually learned about this about a year ago, actually. The maintenance for most colleges costs the most out of anything else in the entire university. Right. So more than the professors, more than everything else, just the maintenance and the actual taxes of the property tax and everything. That's the most expensive part to any college in the world. So think about that. It's upon acres. Some of these colleges are huge, right? All these buildings are huge. And so think about if you were able to completely, I don't want to say demolish, but use that in other spaces and just have everyone work online, those colleges, probably those tuition would probably go down, right? A lot of different, like basically I want to say more so like the amount of money that they need from each student will be a lot less if they were completely online, right?
Absolutely.
And I even have my girlfriend who literally is going to UC Davis. She's paying a lot of money for it, right? But the problem is that one of her classes is completely online, never even sees the professor.
And right? She's paying as if she's going to the school and the whole experience.
Exactly. And she's paying, $15,000 every semester. Like that's a lot, right? At least for me personally, I'm not going to be able to shell that much money out for any course. And so to be able to really think back and think about what's going to happen in the future, I feel like buildings and access to buildings are probably going to be lowered and everything's going to be moving to the house, right? We have such fast internet speed today that literally like one-on-one calls doesn't take that long, right? You can now have Zoom chats, right? Everyone's in the comfort of their own home as well. And also, of course, with the COVID going around, you don't get sick that often, right? If at all. And now we even have, Amazon ships right to our door next day, right? You have different appliances that literally like all you really need is just a Wi-Fi signal and you're able to use it. I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but like during a big storm, when the power goes out, you get scared. You're like, oh shoot, like I can't use any technology right now. I can't even charge my phone. And so when you think about that, I feel like a lot of those, a lot of the current day systems are going to be moving over to a much more technology heavy area. Now we have AI technology. We have literally, you can walk into McDonald's and order it. You don't even need to talk to a cashier anymore, right? You have Apple Pay on your phone. You don't even need debit cards or credit cards anymore. You know, with so many different apps. Exactly. And so with everything that's going on right now, I feel like I don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I at least want to get adapted to it, right? I definitely do want to get adapted to it. Just in case if anything does happen, right? I know a lot of people have day-to-day jobs, and I feel like if they don't adapt to actually being able to make money through the internet, there's gonna be a disconnect, and people are gonna be left behind a lot faster than they already have today. So
I think we're already seeing that a lot of people are falling behind because they're saying, you know what, I'm a rebel. I'm not going to stick to that. I don't do Instagram. I don't do any of that stuff. But we're starting to see that they're falling behind. It's sort of like that's the future. You got to pick up on it pretty fast. So you're right about that, Andre. You are right about that, man. Absolutely. And you're right. When the power goes out, we freak out. We automatically are just like, what do we do? The phone's got how much battery does the phone have? 12%. Oh, I got 12% of life myself left before I start to really lose my applesauce, right? Nice, man. Okay, cool. So what are the plans for the year? We had 2020 to really, I wouldn't say reflect, but there was a lot of impact and a lot of things to take in. So I feel like we've sort of taken things in, and now it's time to put things out. I think we're all ready to just sort of start to, we've been at home. We've been cooped up in our places, quarantined. We want to do stuff. What do you want to do?
Gotcha. So I would feel like right now for a lot of people, the reflection part has definitely already kind of, I would say, hopefully at least, has already kind of been over. I definitely hope that people have been reflecting this entire time instead of just right now. But I definitely know that every single new year, a lot of people create new resolutions, right? A lot of people create new goals to strive for this year. And so for me personally, I'm definitely able to say that I want to be able to, definitely impact more lives. But of course, with all this going on, I feel like my ability to make more and more money online just increased this year, right? There are more users on internet now more than ever there have been before. More people that are actually, buying from online stores. So whether you use Shopify, Amazon, right, whatever it may be, I feel like the usage of online has been increased so much that being able to make an additional $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 a month can actually be attainable by anyone, not just, people that have been doing this for a while. There are some people that are, making upwards of $50,000 a month, $100,000 a month, literally from pressing buttons on their phone and laptop, right? And it kind of, at least for me personally, it kind of disrespects what I do because like I'm grinding it out every single day, for a few $1,000s a month, but I definitely feel like there are some people out there that I want to be able to learn from. And so my goal this year is not necessarily a number or a financial amount, but more so just a knowledge and value amount. I want to be able to gain as much knowledge and value as possible because I know that 2021 will probably be the final year that we have this switch over to online-based, network-based working situations. And I do believe, pretty soon at least, that we should be able to learn as much about it as possible to either become the wave or to not at least get held back and left behind. So me personally, I'm trying to, exactly. And so I'm actually trying to open up my own online store this year. And I'm also trying to help other people do the exact same thing. And that's another big thing is like just being able to open up stores, see what works, see what doesn't work, right? People always need stuff from online. And who's to say that you and I, right, we can't open up our own stores and actually provide that for other people? Right? Nobody. Exactly. And that's the one thing I love about it too. Like there's no boss. I have no boss for the whole year and I've been loving it, right? It's kind of crazy. And so I feel like the biggest thing that I'm super excited about is to give people that little bit of ounce of freedom. So that way they can go out and be like, you know what? I don't want my son and daughter to work for the rest of their lives, right? I don't want them to go through what my parents had to, right? I don't want them just to stick to the safe route and actually try something a little different, right? We don't know what'll work tomorrow. I know that for sure, yeah, flipping, burgers at McDonald's is forever, for a while at least, but we don't know how useful that'll be, later down the line, right? Now we
Maybe
have
not at all.
exactly, and now we have different, different things around the world that, like one thing that I saw is actually in Korea, there's a completely employee-free grocery store. As soon as you walk in, everything's there. Everyone has the courtesy and the common courtesy, pick up whatever they need, check out, leave. No employees there, no nothing, no store manager.
Cameras, security, what do they got to?
There is, yes, there is security cameras, but other than that, there's really nothing. Like it's ridiculous to actually like think about that. That we could literally see that in the near future.
That sounds right about nice right now. Every time I go to the grocery store, everybody that bags the groceries like so mad. They throw the eggs. They get a couple broken eggs in the bag. It's insane, but I think they're looking better now. Hey, that's really awesome, Andre. And I want to say you brought up two really good points that I almost don't want to leave. They're both so good. One of them is the fact that, we're going to talk about fear because, like you said, you want to start a store. You want to do whatever you want to do. And who's to say you can't do it? And that's a really big topic. But before we get into that, I want to talk about, it's interesting how you and I, when we grow up a little more and we become parents, whenever we do, if not tomorrow, whenever that becomes, this is in regards to everyone. Our parents taught us what they learned. We're going to teach our kids what we learn. And I think it's really interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see what kids are told how to go about their lives in the future. My parents told me, go to school, go to college, graduate from college, and get a job that pays well from college. And that's it. And I think now in the future, it's going to be more based on like narrowed down versions of what you want to do. What do you want to do? We can make it happen. I live in Hollywood right now, and you see 2, 3, 4-year-olds already with their parents curating their whole image. They got it all figured out from 2 to 50 already. You know what I mean? So let's talk about fear, Andre. How can we eliminate people's fear? I meet a lot of people and they say, I really want to start a store online, but I just, a guy has it. I see a guy that does it. I met a kid the other day. He was like 13. You're so right. He says, yeah, I make like 2-3 grand on it, dude. And it's that, and he almost didn't even know how he does it. But I think because he sort of grew up doing it, whatever he did, whatever these kids are discovering, he's like, oh, I just push a couple buttons and we get there and money deposits. I'm like, dude, there are people who would lose their minds knowing you're doing this in your room right now. How can we eliminate the fear and just sort of go for it, Andre? How do you tell yourself, you know what, I'm not, when people say I'm not good enough or the store is going to look bad or it might look a little cheap at first, it might, how do we eliminate that fear? Because honestly, you don't get good until you start something, until you do it. And I think today we have to be okay with it being out there and it's going to get better. How do you, what's your thought process?
Yeah, I feel like fear is definitely the biggest thing that really stops people from going to where they want to go. One of the biggest things that I've learned personally, I used to hate public speaking. I used to hate talking to people in general. I was a very big introvert. Literally, I was the kid in the back of the class, never said anything. I was just sitting there taking my notes. So what I had to really do, there's 3 different things that I would say you really, really have to, kind of break a little bit. Is one, your comfort zone, right? Your comfort zone, you're not going to be able to do anything different if you're staying in your comfort zone. As much as your stomach's going to turn, right? As much as emotions are going to come out of you, you have to break that first and make it a repetition and a habit to do that. The second thing, which kind of sucks for me because I hate reading, you have to read some books. You got to read some personal development. You got to listen to some audio books, right? You have to really take inspiration from other people that are trying to do the exact same thing that you did. And I feel like for me personally, I hated reading. I would never pick up a book. My girlfriend loves to read, but I just can't do it. So I kind of jumped into audios a little bit more, but I still read that from time to time. I feel like reading inspirational, books and even motivational and even, just valuable books in general, to be able to kind of like let you know that everyone started from the bottom. Everyone started from that same exact moment of, should I do this? How can I do this? Right? Asking so many questions to yourself and psyching yourself out. But realizing like the ones that do actually take that leap of faith are the ones that usually make it, right? As long as they're staying consistent and dedicated, they're the ones that make it, right? Bill Gates, like Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, they didn't get to where they were by taking it safe. just not that simple, right? They were
Nope.
literally taking risks. Like Elon Musk was even almost bankrupt at one point, right? 2000, like I think it was 2008, right? So think about
Yep.
that. Like that's a lot of stuff that actually kind of like makes you think about like dang, I can actually do this. And plus, there's so many people that are having so much success on it. Now, the third thing, which kind of sucks in my opinion, is going to be what your public image looks like, right? People are
Mm.
more so scared about what other people think about themselves than what they truly think about their own self, right? So I feel like the public image is one thing that really just scares people away, right? Like, oh, what are my friends gonna think when I start an online store? What if they don't like it? What if my parents, say no, right? All this type of stuff. And you have to really just say, okay, who cares, right? I'm gonna try and do something different.
Who cares?
Um,
Who
and
cares?
it's exactly, and it's not an easy answer, but it is the solution at the end of the day, right? It's not
Hmm.
an easy answer at all. I know when I first started this entire journey, like my parents were like, "What are you doing? Right? You're supposed to be going. You're not supposed to continue on to college and blah 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 blah." And I was like, honestly, I'm still gonna go to classes, but I'm putting most of my focus on online businesses. That's it. Because I don't really care about what my communications degree is gonna do, my business degree is gonna do. I don't care. I just want to be able to learn how these other people that are doing it, right? That 13-year-old, I would love to learn from him, right? How is he doing that, right? Being able to just learn from anyone that has the success that you want, so that way you can get there, is huge. So, yeah, I think those are the main three things.
We're going to recap. It's breaking rules, being able to just break the rules. So that means learning them and being able to know how to break them like professionals.
Mhm.
Number two is reading books. You got to read books. It sounds like you like to read, that good motivating stuff. And maybe I'll throw out some titles, The Power of Now, The 48 Laws of Power, The Art of War, motivational books. And I wouldn't even call those motivational books. These are like, the rules, how I would call them. But so read books. And then the third one was mind power, right? It sounds like we could wrap it up to mind power. You got to have the mind power to say, my parents, somebody that I love, these people that raise me and want the best for me, they really do. They're telling me I got to focus more on the communications degree when I really have something here online, and I'm the only one that knows that. So you got to have the mind power to move forward with that. And not only that, but sometimes people being back and forth, you can't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. If you think this, you got to go all the way and you got to just do it. I think you got to just do it. And if it fails on your own terms. I'd rather fail on my own terms than anybody else's any day.
Definitely, definitely.
Those are great rules, Andre. I think those were really awesome. Can you give us some, what are your favorite books that you could recommend to people out there?
Whew, there's a lot of them. I could definitely, after this podcast, I'm actually going to send you over an entire Google Doc. It has every single book in it too. I think it's like 89 books. So like over $1,000 worth of books.
Nice.
But I would definitely say Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I feel like that was one of the strongest ones that I read at first because
Robert Kiyosaki.
Yes. Yeah. That was one of the books where it really changed my perception on what I'm taught versus what I should do. I feel like that's one of the biggest things as well. I was taught so much, get a job, get a career, stick with it, retire at 65, right? And he was telling us like, no, retirement's not an age. That's just a decision, right? All you have to really care about is literally just being able to do something a little different. Don't get a paycheck, right? Actually try and figure out, what does the money system do and why is it catered to certain people and not the others, right? I know someone that works really, really hard at McDonald's, but they're not making that much money versus someone that works once a week and is basically able to make $25,000 a month instead of a year.
Work smarter, not harder.
Exactly. And so he really broke that down to me. It actually kind of sucked a little bit because I started, I don't want to say hating, but I started to neglect some of the teachings that I was being taught when it was actually coming from from high school and stuff like that. And I started really thinking like, what are these professors like? Excuse me. What are these like teachers, professors like really like teaching us? Like what's the importance of it? And I started questioning too much. Kind of got me in a little bit of trouble, but not really. And it kind of just got me into really thinking like, what can I do other than just the regular route, so that way I can actually change my whole trajectory. That's a huge book. Another one I would say Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. That's honestly like that's like one of the oldest books out there.
There's that
Literally,
book you read. It's that one.
yeah, that's probably the one of the strongest ones as well. It really takes it down to the oldest fundamentals of being wealthy. And that one also, comes from Andrew Carnegie and a plethora of other individuals that have been, really, really successful in the last 100 years. He has one. There's a lot of books. Another one is I like Outliers. I think Outliers is a strong one.
Malcolm Gladwell.
Exactly. And so I feel like Outliers is a really, really good book just for you to kind of expand your mind a little bit, kind of realize like not everything is so cookie cutter as you expect it to be. That you actually could do a little bit more out there and become that outlier yourself and see, like, okay, other people may have not been super successful doing this. What can I do a little bit differently to actually, obtain that? That one's a really good one. And then the last one, man.
We got 3 really good ones there, but you could hit us with the last one if you like.
Shoot.
This is just bonus at this point. This is bonus. How about one that you would say, what's the book that you would say, and you can repeat any of those if you like. What's the book that you would say if somebody, here's the thing. A lot of people like to travel now. A lot of people like to go places. So what's the book you would recommend to people who are on the move? They're here, they're there, and they say, I like to read, but I don't want to have, I want one book, a motivational book, a good book of life that I could carry with me and just open up and any page it's got what I need. That book for me is How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's a good book. And in many situations, and I don't even carry it with me actively, but there's been times where it's just right there. You know what I mean? And if I got a little bit of nerves, or I'm just trying to get my mind out of whatever's on the outside and just stay focused, I get a book, I just read that stuff and it's nice. I can recall a situation where that really helped out, that book. And that was a great, a reinforcement that keep your eyes on the prize and you do it. So what do you recommend? What do we carry in our pockets?
I feel like David Goggins, I don't know if you know who he is, Can't Hurt Me. That book is one that it's kind of a slap to the face when you first start reading it, but it really does go into like how to not be afraid. I feel like that's another big one. How to really just go out there and really kill it in whatever you're doing and really just have that strong mindset. I feel like Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins is probably the best one for that, for just like opening up random chapter and starting from there. I feel like that one's probably my go-to.
Man, that just hearing you say that, and I have the book. I got the audio book on my phone, and that's a good book. That man is another breed of human. That guy's another breed of human, man. That's a great book, and you're so right. It's so interesting that he can really put it down for us, like pain, fear, thinking down on yourself and not believing in yourself. Those are purely thoughts. If you can get through that thought, greatness is on the other side. It really is. You keep going and it's right there. It's just that fear. Definitely. We just got to get rid of that fear, man. And that's a really good book. I'm with you, man. I have that on my phone and I actually listen to that pretty regularly. That's a really good book. David Goggins, man, that guy is awesome. I'll tell you a funny story about David Goggins, actually. Years ago when I was working, starting off in Hollywood and just trying to get Hollywood jobs, sometimes you get like stand-in work, which you sit in for like a talk show, a TV interview show, Dr. Phil interviews whoever he interviews. And this was for a sports show and they were interviewing athletes. This was maybe 6 years ago. David Goggins walked in and he was doing the same Goggins he was then. And he just wasn't, he wasn't on the Rogan podcast. He wasn't in the whole face of the eye. He was just, and I remember that day I was like, whoa, that dude's got a lot of steam in him, but I didn't hear anything about him for a little while. And then he got on Rogan and then boom, like a nuclear bomb explosion.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah. That's the man right there. That is definitely the man.
I'm with you, man, Andre. That was awesome. We got financial advice. We got books. We got a little bit backstory on your life. It's been a great talk with you, man. What can you leave the audience with and maybe some quotes? What is a life quote you like to live by? You got any quotes you say to yourself? Any what do you call them? Any sayings you reinforce to yourself? what do they call them? The Rock has a word for them, and I'm trying to remember the exact word, and I know it. I just can't remember. A mantra. You have a mantra you say to yourself that, keeps you going in times of doubt.
I feel like the biggest one, I personally like affirmations a lot. I really, really do. So I feel like anything with like I am, and then after that, that's like the strongest one. One of the biggest quotes that I love though is that always be careful of what you say because you're always listening. I feel like that one is definitely the biggest one. So, kind of ties back into the whole, affirmations part where it's like the more that you speak positively and like good about yourself, the more, good will actually happen versus,
The more
negative
you're
stuff.
listening, the more you speak, the more you're listening.
Exactly.
Not them, but you. So like what you put out,
Mhm.
you're gonna always know you put out.
Exactly.
Interesting. Well,
Yeah,
Andre, that's a really good one. And I think this has been a really great interview, Andre. That was really, really great talk, and it's been great chatting with you.
definitely. Likewise, man. I'm super excited to see, this entire podcast blow up. You're honestly an amazing host, so I'm super excited for that and be able to kind of hear a bit more. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me, though.
I appreciate that, Andre. You were really awesome, man. We're gonna get you back on and we'll catch up with you because I like to talk with you as well.
Definitely, definitely. All right. Shall talk to you guys later.
All right, Andre. Take care, man. Thanks for being on.